Hello writers, this is Emily from Book Note Literary Services. I'm a literary consultant, professional book editor, and writing coach, here to talk to you a little bit today about how and when to use profanity or bad language in your fiction writing. Difficult topic, yes, a lot of gray areas, a lot of rumor and speculation about it, a lot of different opinions on the topic. So I'm going to cover a little bit about that. And first I want to clarify there's a difference between profanity, cursing, and swearing. Profanity is generally bad language. Cursing is generally religious related, you know, I'll say goddamn or Jesus Christ or something like that that might offend a reader. And you have, of course, texting, swearing. You might be like, I swear to God on my life. So some kind of an adamancy. And then you have obscenities, which are words that are really vulgar, like the C word that refers to women. And should you ever put that in a book or things like that? Difficult topic, yes. So the first thing I want to tell you is, let's say a brand new blockbuster movie comes out in the theater next week. You and your spouse want to see it. The movie theater is entirely full. Out of that theater, there are probably going to be 100 different opinions about that movie. You may have loved it. Your partner may have hated it. Half the other audience thought it was nah. Some of them thought it was the best movie that ever existed on this entire planet, and some of them walked out during. So the bottom line is you will never please everybody as a writer. It's just not going to happen. You can guess. I mean, what you do to please what you think is the larger majority will displease the smaller majority. So when you write a novel, you are creating a piece of art, just like if you're painting a picture. My mother was a painter. Some of the paintings you can see behind me. My mother was a painter, so some people love it, some people hate it. She did a lot of florals, a lot of natural artwork. She had probably over 100 paintings. But whether you're doing, designing a piece of furniture or creating a symphony or a sculpture, it's a piece of art. So it's unique to you. So whether or not you use profanity depends on a lot of things, your own personal preferences, but really I would say it depends on your publishing goals, the genre you're writing in, and the kind of people in your book. So on the time frame, if you're writing historical romance, historical fiction, language wasn't used the same back then. If your novel takes place in modern current day, well, we're living in a world of LOLs and OMGs and a lot of bad words and a lot of slang. So the general consensus, I would say, of editors is whatever time frame your book is written and whatever fictional world they exist in, make their language as natural as possible for that time. So how I speak now and you and your friends speak is how your character should speak if your book takes place in the last, 10, 15 years. So if they lived in the 60s, you gotta consider the time frame. You gotta think about how things were different. In the 50s, the proper era, I Love Lucy, a little bit different, a little bit stiff. So also, I write in the romantic suspense crime drama genre. So in my books, you have a lot of NYPD cops, mob, mafia, criminals. So obviously, for example, my main character throughout all of my series novels is an NYPD homicide detective. He's also Italian, half Spanish. And he also, he has a brother who sexually assaulted his daughter, and he also is continuously contesting against the Italian crime syndicate, whom his daughter is attached to on the other side, but she doesn't know that. And so, I write a lot of scenes where he's on a crime site, or he's in his office, or he's around people that are back characters that just pop in here and there, or in environments. How do these guys talk? I mean, really, if he catches an 18-year-old kid with a pocket full of cocaine, you think when he grabs that kid by the collar and puts the cuffs on him, that kid's going to be like, oh gosh darn it, tootin' nanny, what kind of luck have I had today? Oh no, I guess I'm going back to the jail. No. Especially you got to consider, is he African American? Is he Hispanic? Is he in a gang? Like what? You know what I'm saying? So that's not how he's going to talk. Let's just put it this way. And my character, for example, he also has a drinking problem and he has an anger management problem for good reason. So when he's angry, he swears a lot. When he's referring to the brother that assaulted his daughter, who he hasn't caught, he says terrible words about him. Every version of the F word with something before or after that's really bad, definitely. But that's his character. But my hero, the bodyguard in the movie, rarely ever says a bad word ever. He's very proper, very professional. My female character, she never, ever, very ladylike, feminine, graceful, never says a bad word. She might say, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, every time she's scared, which would be sort of a form of, of cursing. So, it really depends on, when would you use the bad language for your own choice? I would say to promote characterization, to make a scene more tense. So here's an example. What if I were to say to you, or it was written on paper, I just ate a carton of Ben & Jerry's. Yay. Or what if I said to you, I just ate another goddamn carton of Ben & Jerry's. Like you can hear my tone, you can tell that by adding the word goddamn, it tells a lot about my relationship with that ice cream, right? But just by the addition of the one word. Now, when you hear my voice, like if it was in a movie, you can hear the tone, which tells you a lot. But in writing, we don't have tone, so we have to indicate tone. So, because it's just flat words on a page, right? So by putting in a bad word, it can change the meaning. So on paper, it could say, I just ate another chocolate chip cookie, Mom. Or I just ate another goddamn effing cookie, Mom. And then she goes and kicks something. That tells you a lot more about, oh, this person has battled, sugar addiction or binge food eating for a long time. Versus just a blanket statement, I just ate a cookie. So really, I would say if you're self-publishing, you can do whatever you want because it's your piece of art. Don't worry who's going to like it. Someone's never going to like your... If someone gets into your novel, if your writing is good enough, if you've hooked them in there and they like your story, they're not going to be turned off by some bad words. If they want to put the book down because there's too many, religious-related curse words or swear words, then, oh well. I mean, they're probably the smaller proportion of the group. Because if you left all your curse words out of an entire manuscript, which you would probably think is a safe bet, right? That could also make it a little more boring. I mean, really, being an author means taking risks. It's risky. We live in an unsure world, and you're never going to be able to please everybody. It's generally the authors that are the most obscure or take the most risks that tend to do the best. You know what I'm saying? So it's always like the movie or the book or the piece of art that stands out and takes that risk that lures people in, because we're sort of addicted to the macabre. We hang our heads out windows when ambulances go by or there's police cars. Everyone slows down to look. We want that intense drama, and sometimes that comes from bad language. So I would do is, when you're done with your manuscript, I would go to Microsoft Word and put in, like, for example, the F word in my first novel. I sadly discovered I had it over 197 times, but it was 700 pages. And so I did go in, search for each one. I probably made half of those replacements with something more creative, because sometimes it just flows out when you're on a character tangent, right? And it's always some other version of the word or any word. I might use other words like jerk off or moron or total douchebag. Sorry, I'm just telling you. I mean, I don't generally talk this way, but this is what my character says. And to me, that's just natural. It just comes out because he's a cop, right? So that happens when he's talking about bad people, but he's a good character. So I guess it's really entirely to your discretion. If you're trying to sell to a traditional publisher, really, really, really tame it back. Make sure it's very valid if you have it in there and has an extreme purpose. Okay, you can check out my blog, and you can go to my website, www.booknoteliterary.com. Thanks everybody for watching, and keep on writing.